Alright, welcome to the lesson on the derivative of tan x. So previously you would have learned the derivative of the two other main trig functions, sine x. So the derivative of sine x was cos x, and the derivative of cos x, which was just similar, negative sine x. So you just got to remember cos x gets the negative, or the derivative of cos x gets the negative. Now what we're going to do is figure out the derivative of that third basic trig identity, or trig function, y equals tan x. So the way we're going to get at this is to just actually use these two. So you would have learned previously that a trig identity, right? You would have learned that you can express tan x as sine x over cos x. Well, why do we want to use this identity to help us get the derivative? Well, now instead of getting the derivative of tan x, we can just get the derivative of sine x over cos x, and since we already know those two derivatives, that should be easy, right? So now we have expressed tan x as a quotient, so we can just use the quotient rule. So the derivative, or the quotient rule tells us the derivative of the top, so the derivative of sine x is cos x, times, leave the bottom, minus, leave the top, which is sine x, times the derivative of the bottom, which, in this case would be negative sine x, not negative cos x. Gotta get my pen. So the derivative of cos x is negative sine x. And then that's all over the bottom squared, which would be cos squared x. So now just clean this up a bit. So cos times cos, cos squared x, minus sine x times minus sine x would be plus sine squared x, all over cos squared x. So now if we want to simplify this, notice this numerator, that should look familiar to you also. That's one of our basic trig identities. It's probably the first trig identity you learned. Cos squared plus sine squared x is equal to 1. Sometimes we call that the Pythagorean identity. So this numerator here is all just equal to 1. And that's all over cos squared. So the derivative is 1 over cos squared, and then usually we'll express that as secant squared x. If you remember, secant is just equal to 1 over cos. So secant squared is 1 over cos squared. So that's your rule for the derivative of tan x. So let's just summarize that with your three trig derivatives. So the derivative of sine x was cos x. The derivative of cos x was negative sine x, and the derivative of tan x is the one you just learned in this video, is secant squared x. Okay, so those are your three basic trig derivatives that you will need to know.